It's been an exciting week, a week where we've seen the political class come together for the first time again. As usual, it's like a bad marriage. They fight every day, and then they come together. Then we look stupid, as usual Kenyans. The week has been really, really political, but anyway, we'll discuss that later. It's Let's Be Real. We discuss difficult issues, soft issues, and also entertaining issues. I'm your host, CEO Charles Otieno. But I want to ask the panel today, what's your claim to fame? What's your claim to fame?
What's my claim to fame?
Yes.
Okay, my claim to fame is that I help people navigate and truly celebrate life's greatest moments
Yes.
through our platforms. And now I'm a winemaker. A lot of people now know me
Yes.
as a winemaker. Lakini your topic tuendelee, your claim to fame.
What's your claim to fame?
So a lot of people know me as a winemaker now and a reality star.
Karibu.
I'm famous.
Wanja?
My name is Wanja. My claim to fame is working with young people in informal settlement to deal with social issues in the community, that is Mathare in particular. I am also a writer, and I try very much to be involved with community issues and cause positive societal change.
Wow, my claim to fame. I'm already famous for just being Maria, but my claim to fame is marriage is a scam. I'm an author. I write books based on the life of people that we live right now, because I know all of you are out there wishing for fairy tale. I am the one who tells you the truth. Get my books, Marriage is a Scam and Love the Original You. I also do a kids magazine. And I'm also on Let's Be Real.
I forgot to say, my other claim to fame is that I'm Andrea's mama. And a wife. One wife.
One wife?
One husband. Yes.
One husband is okay. One wife?
Yes.
You see where Dr. C
What's
comes
your
from?
claim?
My claim to fame?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, a lot of things. I was voted once one of the most influential 100 Kenyans in the Republic of Kenya.
Wow.
Ooh,
Where are they
wow.
nominating them? Because I think
that's amazing. But you are.
And of course I've shaped the entertainment industry for years. I've done media through my life and changed the way we view media. So that's my claim to fame. And also many shows I do. I do podcasts, I do this show and another show.
Okay.
Yeah,
So from where I sit,
yes,
your claim to fame
yes.
is Nairobian.
That's one.
Wow. Oh,
The
Pulse,
most scandalous.
Nairobian, The Pulse. I've changed the media industry in how it's supposed to be. The first entertainment magazine in Kenya, I'm the one who founded in this republic.
Pulse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Straight up from school.
Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
And it was, for some of you who are not yet born, Pulse,
You were born.
it still is, but
Yes.
at that time, everybody, like the standard newspaper would
Was
sell
sell.
out. On a Friday, it would be a sellout. Because then, that's when the first real celebrities
Were
were
created.
actually created and born.
But
So
I
we-
have a question. It's not an interview though, but what was the secret?
I just thought about it that we didn't have stars. We needed to create our local stars.
Oh.
People used to read about international artists. And I said, I'll create local artists to go international.
And I'm a product.
Of course.
I used to be in Pulse every Friday, and it grew my business. Every Friday. What was the name of that guy?
Which one?
The famous writer.
Tony Muchama.
Tony,
Smita.
Smita. We used to meet in all the because I was running Going Out magazine.
Yes.
And we would meet, and he would always include me
Yes.
in his. Where is Smita?
Smita is around. He's writing books.
Ah, okay.
We are authors, of course, as well. Yeah. So let's get into the show, ladies and
Okay,
gentlemen.
the claim to fame thing needs to continue.
Yes, that's what I
It's
mean.
actually,
Because-
it brings an element of reflection, like I've
Yeah.
remembered another thing and another thing, yeah.
Oh. What have you remembered, Wanja?
That I'm in this year's top 40 under 40. which was in the an annual business daily,
Business daily.
profiling of women who are under 40. And then I've also now remembered other things that I'll tell you next time when we have a special show for the same. Yeah.
Yeah, but before we actually
Yes.
continue, because you know, I'm a cast member on this show, that I asked one of the cast members this question, and just because they could not answer this question, it led to so many things, including, what can you not forgive me about? But people actually need to think about it, the young people or anyone anybody. What do people know you for? Especially if you're in business, you just never know who you're gonna meet.
Yeah.
So people need to self-reflect. What do people know me for? So that if someone asks you, you're able to answer that question.
Great, you've captured it very well. So let me start with the other topic which we are supposed to go into. The Kenyan government has an ID revolution that in the charges have gone very high, but also all the local IDs, if you get an ID today, what we call the type C ID, you'll also be having an expiry date at the back of that ID. That means it's 10 years. By the way, I have that ID. I got one. My ID expires in 2032. I got one the other day. I lost mine. I went, applied for an ID, and I was shocked that it has an expiry date. What's your take?
So I will go first. First of all, when I read about it, my ID is, first of all, really, it does not have any expiry date. But when I read about it, I was like, first off, your national ID is for Kenyan citizens born, and there's no time you expire to be a Kenyan, unless, of course, even if you die, your land is Kenya, you're buried in the land. So I feel so, first of all, it's unfair. And to my mind, is it another way of the government just making money? But to give it to them, I'm thinking, is it a way of sometimes cleaning out the national register? Because sometimes people die, and these IDs continue to be used even in employment, and no one is clearing them out. So it's a way of, a strategic way of clearing. It better be for only that reason. Otherwise, I don't know why I would be Kenyan and expire to be a Kenyan. Does it make, it doesn't make sense?
It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Wanya?
Like for me, I think issues of IDs and issues of documents that involves you interacting with other facets of society, coming to look for a job here, going to with your child to the hospital, are very important issues. And I think the government is complicating things so much in a world where we have a lot of technology. The other day, the young people were saying that the government can easily find you and abduct you, as in the case of the Gen Zs. If they can trace you using technology to find you, honestly, they should be able to use the same technology to make our life easier. Take an example of Nairobi, for example. Nairobi is a very accessible place, and you only appreciate the lack of accessibility when you go outside of Nairobi. Here you can easily walk to the chief. Sometimes when I'm going to the house, I usually go to the chief to say hello to him. Not even to enter to the office, to just pop even chungulia kwa na watu namsalimia naenda. But in some communities, there are young people who have to travel far and wide kutafuta ID. There are people who have to, who have to prove their nationality. So you get the additional documents of your, of your parents, of your grandparents. So they are making a process that would have been otherwise made very easy with technology so hard. Remember, there's a correlation between the ID and getting a passport in the case of an adult. You've seen Kenyans really struggling even with passports. So the government is increasingly making it really hard for people to interact with documents that make their work easier. I think when young people say they are looking for jobs, what they mean is make the environment friendly and accessible. Help us to get IDs as easy as possible so that we can look for jobs. So I think the move is ill-advised. I don't understand how you expire if they already have your documents. And it's high time really we have a way of linking all these funny documents we carry. In the US, I'm told you can use your ID, your NHIF, your social security number all in one document. But now in Kenya, you have to get this and that. This has expired. Does it mean my NHIF, which is linked to that ID, expires as well? So for me, I'm finding it to be a new level of complication while the world is moving forward.
Maria?
I also never understood why a driving license expired, by the way. I've never understood, and now they tell me now an ID will expire. So another confusion on my part. But it's more of the money. For the government, I know it's the money. It's more like you are going to pay to have a document that tells people you exist. Because if after 10 years you're supposed to pay and say, oh, reminder, I'm here, here's the money, more like sadaka ya kuishi. Because if it's trying to clear the records, everyone who dies before they are buried, there's a death certificate. You can trace people, you can easily know that this person, the holder of this ID, has this death certificate, and that's why the ID is invalid. So they would have used that if they wanted to clear the records. But because they are aware of the fact that this is the only way that, and the fact that those IDs are cheap. Do they have cheap? Yeah, security altered again, because that's not safe for people. For some, maybe the government needs to know where you are, but how sure are we that it's going to be used for the right reasons? Because if phones can be hacked.
The ID can be hacked.
ID can be hacked. You're not safe.
Maria, I think you guys have talked. The problem I have with the government is that our government is basically a bandit economy where it thinks Kenyans are just a way of making money.
Yeah.
So the idea of bringing ID to expire is so that they can raise revenue from people. So that they can say after 10 years, every time there will be people lining up for new IDs and there's more money which you can get from it. And also, they will always increase that the amount of money. For a very long time, to get an ID has always been 200 shillings. For a very long time. Because it is, in our constitution, it is one of your rights. An ID should not be charged. You are a member of that country, you are native. The government, it's a government prerogative to give you an ID as a Kenyan. So the government sees all the time that there's always a way of making money out of its people. So they've decided, okay, I will not give it for free, so let it expire. And that's where I have a problem with. Because they cannot be taxing people on many other aspects and then you bring that price on someone who is legally required to have an ID to identify with. Secondly, there are too many other documents which ID is basic. Other documents, if you need to travel, then the passport is because it's a document of travel, so you can pay a little bit more. But an ID which helps you in land transaction, to buy property, to do what, should be for free because the government will still charge you in all these other transactions you're doing. So I think our government has been very insensitive, number one. Number two, I think our government should always consider the people. There are very many poor Kenyans in this country who cannot afford that 1,000 just to get an ID when it expires. If the poverty line, if Kenyans were living above the poverty line, and you know very well, very many people live with less than $1 a day in this country. So you're asking that guy, his ID has expired. He needs 1,000 shillings or 2,000. Where will he get it from?
Can I say something there?
Yeah.
Charles, did you know that it's illegal not to have money? Did you know?
Not to have money?
Yeah, according to the Kenyan law, yes.
Oh, right now, yeah.
Like, it's not right now. It has always been illegal not to have money.
And what is the bare minimum?
Because you at least must have a shilling or something, because if you don't have money, then you're not allowed even to trade with anyone. You're not even allowed to be employed. Then you're declared bankrupt.
Of course, yes.
but now...
So if you're declared bankrupt, yeah, then, so if you cannot afford to have, okay.
I get you.
Are you getting me? That it is illegal. It means you must be engaged. For as long as you're over 18, you have to be engaged in some gainful activity that is gaining you income. Therefore, it becomes illegal not to have money, then you have to be declared bankrupt. At that point, you should not be employed, you should not trade with anyone, you should actually, in fact, you're a criminal. That's the Kenyan law, by the way. I'm not making it.
Yeah, but you see what
But now
happens.
you're a criminal who does not need to have an ID because you're
You see,
bankrupt.
one
you
thing,
cannot get-
maybe what Dr. C you need to clarify is that it does not mean only money. It means because there are people who work and are paid or with produce. So that means you can survive, you can sell the produce. So you own something. It's about assets, about when your assets and their liabilities actually have that correlation. It's not a way that it's only that legal tender. And that's what I'm saying. Kenyans live. There's a guy who might be living with less than $1 a day, but he has 10 acres of land. Remember that. Or he's doing his bogas somewhere, and he can, the only thing that he cannot sell, but he can eat.
But you know another thing about the IDs thing, there's a ripple effect to everything. Remember, if you're caught without an ID, that is wrong. So corruption is going to increase. The other ripple effect is that if you are going to all of you queue there for IDs, and it's not their lost, it's renewal, it means the people who are working in those offices will have to tell you, do this so that yours can come out fast and you don't need to queue. So it's more like we are trying to increase our corruption means by just doing, the government did not think through that idea.
But also for me, like in the issue of the ID, what comes to mind is just the issue of public goods. How come, like in Kenya, ideally, education, there should be free primary education. Why is it that we have free primary education? It is because it is up to the government to provide public goods, where else a child, if I choose to take my child in a place where I pay more, that is a choice. However, in the case that I cannot be able to pay more, I can take them to, you know, to Nairobi Primary School, for example, and pay almost nothing. Public goods, and what I'm noticing with this government is their increased urge to privatize things that are for the common mananchi. The other day we were talking about Linda Mama. It was almost free to give birth. But now when they put a price tag to it, then it will mean that you have told a person without money that you are not welcome into our public facilities. Tomorrow they will make water to be private good. And the reason why we pay water, the other day I paid water, I think 300 shillings. It is because that's a public good and the government should not engage. It's like they're trading with us. And if they continue with that trajectory, tomorrow water will be 1,000 per, your meter bill will be coming 10,000 for your average mwananchi. Tomorrow they'll say that for you to renew an ID will be 20,000, for example. So this sort of privatization and trade with the government, increase of prices and setting such rules, before you know it, it will be very hard for anybody really. Even education will not be free. And I think it's a big issue.
And again, we ask the same question, where is the money going to?
It's almost very tiring, honestly, to talk about. We look like we've just become a nation of whiners and whining.
And taxation.
Not in terms of wine, but complaining.
Complaining.
But here, so the Ministry of Health
Yes.
has issued a warning about the use of the medicine, the pens that are used to treat type 1 and type 2 diabetes. It's called Ozempic. So they've issued a warning that there is a fake Ozempic in the market, and that the general public and also the medical professions need to be aware. This was a circular issued last week. And yeah, so just to talk about it, because I do have a medical background. So Ozempic has become very popular of late in the media because popular stars like Oprah Winfrey claimed to have used it, and now they're losing weight. It's a drug that was developed with Novo Nordisk, which is a Danish research-based pharmaceutical company. And originally it was meant to treat diabetes. But now studies have shown that it's treating weight loss. So a lot of people have actually turned up to use this medicine for weight loss, which is another topic by itself. But talking about medicine that is fake and the real one, it's a really big problem. I remember when we launched Viagra, then I worked for Pfizer, which is the world's leading research-based pharmaceutical company. The blue pill, I think a lot of
Actually, I
men
thought you were
are
going to say
familiar.
it's the leading research for Viagra.
No, it's a no, Pfizer. It's the world's leading
research. Yeah.
research-based pharmaceutical company.
Did it
And
have the COVID thing?
they are the ones also
Oh,
who came
the
up with the
ones-
COVID vaccine.
Oh, okay.
It's an amazing company to work for, but also the products they produce. Already fake ones were coming up in the market. And some were real, some were not real. It's always a problem you're going to have, especially if you're dealing with trying to solve a public good. Yeah, because erectile dysfunction is a big problem for men. And therefore, a lot of people thought it's an aphrodisiac, so they were just buying it. But what I want to say is that when it comes in the pharmaceutical world, there is what we call the patent period. You come up with this thing that is revolutionary. So you're given like 20 years to sell because research is very expensive. It can take even 10, 20 years to come up with a molecule that can cure. So companies are given the incentive to only manufacture. Therefore, but there are some countries, I don't know if India has changed, that don't respect the patent rights. So you'll find immediately you come up with a molecule, somebody else already has come up with an exact copy of that molecule and it's available. So if it is available in a market, like it's coming to Africa, and a lot of people cannot afford, and the demand is there, so you find these medicines coming through the panya routes. So is it good? Is it bad? You'll find that some of the generics are actually good. We call it, if it's very similar and it can do the same work. But the problem usually is that if you cannot differentiate a proper
generic,
one,
yeah.
and you know, diabetes is a disease that actually kills. So can you imagine somebody using medicine that you don't know whether it's real or not real? They could actually die. So it's a big public health problem.
But because I think the reason why someone would want to clone it is because of the cosmetic factor of it. Because if the production is low and you've told people that it helps you lose weight, the production has to go high. Also another thing, with the health in Kenya, with the health sector in Kenya, I always feel like their way of creating awareness is through a gimmick of some sort. Like all this while, you've known, because I don't think, like right now they're telling us there's fake and there's real. Which company manufactures the fake one? How do we know the real one? Where do we get the real one? Not forgetting that our hospitals don't even have enough medication for that diabetes. So for us to be lied to and in buying fake is very easy, because we've not been shown that the government, as a government, Pfizer has told us this is bad, so we know that we are stocking our hospitals with the original version of it. So if you come to buy in this area, you'll find the original version. But they don't even have the medicine. So being lied to becomes easy for the public, because right now you have to just pick what you get. And picking what you get, most of the time you find that it is the fake that you don't know where it comes from, who brings it, that you pick. But it's good for the public to be aware, and I wish there was another option B for diabetes, but you're trusting that the government will do something, not just create awareness.
Wanya?
But well, for me, it has all, just as Maria is saying, the first thing is really who brings the fake one, who brings the good one. I'm sure there are bureaus of statistics and other sort of requisite documentation for medicine. Otherwise, one would ask, is it only Ozempic that is fake in the market? If I am on antibiotics and now we have a cold, almost everybody, including myself, there's a flu going on, how safe and how assured is it that when I go to the pharmacy without that medical eye, I'll get some, medicine that is not, good. But for me, if I were to look at the cosmetic and the background that Dr. C is telling us about Ozempic and the qualities or the vibe around it that it's helping with weight loss, I've always felt like, I don't know if it's our culture or it's our government, there's always this thing of telling us don't, don't. And that is even how we deal with our children. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But they are not telling us what to do. If they have noticed that, and they should be able to know the misinformation or what we are thinking is the consumers, the people who consume the Ozempic. If the women and the pop culture is saying that the women are taking Ozempic to lose weight, I feel like the government should go beyond telling us that it's a fake Ozempic, because we don't even know the difference between the fake, the original, by virtue of looking at it, and start giving the women and the Kenyans alternative information about weight loss. For example, if Ozempic seems to be working, their communique should have said, however, research, and the government, I'm sure they have the best research has proven that by doing this and that, by fasting, by not doing this, by not taking carbohydrates a lot, there could be long-term positive effects of weight loss and better health. So this sort of, it's like giving information but not giving the do. The other day the ministry said that there's a lorry that has collapsed, and then there's cyanide, sodium cyanide. And then me, I'm like, if I were a resident of Rimuru where the sodium cyanide collapsed and it's in the air, the government didn't tell me what to do. How can I prevent myself? Yes, the lorry has collapsed and the gas is in the air, yes. But what is the precautionary and the next step? So are women struggling with weight loss? Yes, I'm one of them. But is it enough to be told don't? Because you know, one of the things about weight is just that desperation. It doesn't even help that the pop culture is out there, the billboards, the whole vibe around thin, and you know how our pop culture portrays, you know, what are the ultimate standards of beauty. So the consumers of Ozempic could be just, you know, desperate. They want to get into the shape. They are influenced by the media. So the government should go ahead and give people the alternative to weight loss, to women, and what they can do in a healthy way.
I think you've really captured it well, but my issue would be that in this country, it is the traders who bring us all these problems. When you have fake fertilizer, someone imports fake fertilizer, puts stones in it, and gives farmers. Someone decides that illicit brew, instead of brewing the good old changa in our villages, the way we do it in Ugenya, you go and to the mortuary and get those chemicals, and you
formaldehyde.
Yeah, and you do poison for you, not knowing your kid or your daughter or your brother or your sister will drink. I think it's a bad culture we have. Beyond the government's laxity and not knowing what to do and having the tightropes, is that there are individuals who work with the government who are hell-bent on doing anything for profit. And that's why these two, the fake Ozempic is in the market, because someone just goes and says, give me the fake ones and bring it, I'll ship it to Kenya and pass it as the original one. So a consumer does not have, when you're going to buy medicine, sometimes you don't know what you're buying. You're just told, this is a prescription, go and buy. If you go to the supermarkets, there are even alcohol from Kariobangi industries, light industries, which are fake. The moment you drink is when you realize it is not a usual whiskey. So Kenyans must also be truthful to themselves and see that we are hurting one another. We are not going to import things which are going to harm other people. Remember, a few months ago, the oil which was imported disappeared. And that oil, it was not the crude oil which we needed. You remember the Pima, we said we'll buy oil, it will be on the streets, people can buy it from there. The thing which came was something totally different, and it became a scandal that the government has not even today said how it ended up to what they got. Sugar and mercury, same thing. So it is the Kenyans, the people who have resources, who are importing things which are not up to standard. And then it gets itself into the market. Then after some time you'll hear we've confiscated, and then it disappears in the stores. Even this Ozempic will be confiscated, but the next day you'll be told they disappeared and it's already found itself in the market again. So to local Kenyans, or any Kenyan out there, be careful on what you buy. Just check again and recheck, because your government will not save you from those harmful products.
But I want to say something on that also. Sorry. I want to say that selling the airport, as it was alleged in the media, and you know, all those things that came with it. Imagine whoever it is that is benefiting, you must have relatives, grandchildren, whatever, who one day they actually go into a pharmacy and imagine who they meet. If you're going to live in this country, unless you leave this country, you know, this story of corruption is everywhere.
Yeah.
You understand? It's honestly like unless you choose to live in a vacuum, unless I keep on saying we choose to become each other's keeper, maybe your relative will end up with that fake Ozempic.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, and so what have you, even if you have accumulated trillions of whatever money, you just end up where all of us are. You know, that is the big problem. The other thing I want to say, this is what I always say, that we need to come up with African solutions for our African problems.
Yeah.
You know, the issue of fake medicine is a big issue on the continent. It's a really, and it's not, in fact, Kenya is more organized. You go to Nigeria, it's even worse. It's worse. They don't have an organized market as we do. But one of the things I've actually noted with Europe is such that you can't just buy medicine over the counter. It doesn't matter even if you have a Kenyan prescription. Like, you have to queue and just, medicine is very, very controlled. Very controlled. You can't, you know what we take for granted here? So it means we also really need to, like, control our market like that on many of these things.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we can. These days, that prescription you get from a doctor is very, very important. But also, when I'm talking about African solutions, we are now in the era of AI. So maybe we need to have an AI solution for how can you tell a fake medicine and a real medicine. I think there are people who are working on those kind of issues. But anyway, I shall be reporting and bringing you information and news.
So what I will say is, we have aflatoxin, we have flour with sugar with mercury, we have all that. But Kenyans,
cyanide.
Yes, and cyanide. Please don't be obsessed with the society's idea of what is beautiful. You are beautiful. Let's take a short break and we'll be right back on Let's Be Real.
Welcome back. We've had the first part with very interesting stories. Of course, Dr. C brought us Ozempic. I almost confused with Ozambi. Ozambi. Shifura. I thought it was what you were going to talk about. You didn't listen to Ozambi?
What was that?
Shifura.
Who is the musician?
Nowadays the
He's
songs
in
they
Uganda.
Nowadays the
A
songs
young
people sing.
Ugandan.
Apparently it's a girl sits next to a guy and then just does the head like this. So the guy is saying, oh, Zambi.
Shifura.
There is no point, by the way, but people are enjoying it. And it's trending for having
Even
no
now,
point.
when was it trending?
It's been
It has
trending
been
even
trending
now.
for a while. Even Kenyan celebrities have been doing
There's an
like,
Ozambi
Yes.
remix, by the way, by Kenyans. So don't worry.
It's trending for being useless.
Oh, me, I remember party after party. Party after party after party after party. You know,
So, Dr. C, you brought her Anguka Naya.
that one, who can miss it? Eh? But I need to practice those moves. Anguka Naya. Anguka Naya.
one leg is really.
One leg, Anguka Naya.
Maria.
What? I'm nice. I don't know popular songs.
Okay. No, speaking of kuanguka nayo, speaking of sijui siasa, Kenyans have been angukaing with their politicians and their MPs.
Yeah.
2024 is a year of democracy. 65 countries in the world are having their elections. Amongst them, America, South Africa just had their elections, and many other countries. And it turns out that people are saying that even in this decade, women are not ready for political leadership. for women to make it, they have to get favors, tokenism, and sometimes it has been said that they have to sleep around with prominent men so that they can make it to the politics. Some women feel strongly against it. Some say that it's an open secret. So we are asking, can women make it into the politics, and are they making it without favors? And what do you all think about those allegations?
I will start. For starters,
Yes.
women need to know that power is taken. It is not given. Okay? From where I sit, just going by Gen Zs, you saw how Millie Odhiambo trended. The fact that good girls don't get the corner office. This generation, which is not just this generation in Kenya, but also all over the world, and even in America, they are through with fairy tales. You know, I had somebody say, oh, she did what until she got, somebody said, oh, you're talking about, give her more. We just want to get, it's a watershed, so we can talk about, we want to get into power, yeah? So, you know, those are old stories. People are fed up. Women are fed up. And I think people know those are gimmicks used to keep women out of the corner office. And we've become immune to these kind of things. Because you're going to age shame us. You're going to call us witches. For 200 years, Europe was in the darkness. They were persecuting women.
Yeah, for we being witches.
For being witches. But what was it really? Because most of these women, like I said last week, were in menopause. And they had just gotten their power. They didn't give a saying. Yeah? They actually didn't. Yeah? So, what are we saying? We are saying that the thing about women having to, you know, for favors, it's neither here nor there. But what do I tell women? What is the best way to have power over men? Just remain potential. Because it's true. I've said it and I'm going to say it again.
Please expound. Remain potential.
You know, the thing is that when men look at women, it doesn't matter who there is, whether it's the priest or the pastor or even your doctor. When you're looking at a woman, most men look at a woman through sexual eyes. It's a given, it's scientifically known. So as women, how do we play this game? You just remain potential. Don't actualize it. Do not actualize it. Yeah? So if a man, if what it means to get the vote is you remain potential, just remain potential. Yeah? So we are getting in power. And the day we get into that power, men better be careful. Because now we know this game. We know it so well. Humanity is changing. It's just a matter of time. And I honestly think Kamala is getting in.
More power to her.
Yes.
So
But the issue of potential, you've understood.
Very well.
Yes, that's why we need to cover up. You see the way I'm covering up?
Yeah.
Because the moment you're showing all your legs, you're naked, these people have, you know, they've already had it. So you remain potential. Just stay in female power.
One thing I would say is if you are a woman out there and you want something and you're there scared that they will think you slept with someone, please. They're going to think when you get into power. Yes. They are going to say it when you... There's no day that you'll ever see someone says that, oh, she worked hard, she did this. So you are there shying off and avoiding the corner office just because you're scared. Who is going to say what? Go out there, push yourself, do your best. Work hard and you're going to get there. Don't sit there hoping that they are going to praise you for getting there. Whether it's true or not, they're still going to say. But they rather say when you have a 6-figure in your bank account and also you have the power you need to ignore their words.
Wow. See,
it's a women power. Well, let's say women power.
Yes. Well, Amanda.
Oh my
Amanda. CEO, you look like you have a lot you want to say about the subject.
No, I will just start with one of my favorite playwrights is called Aristophanes. He wrote in 573 BC. a play known as Lysistrata. Lysistrata is a play which was written after the Peloponnesian War. The Peloponnesian War.
That one, Pelo, that one.
The Penelope War.
The Peloponnesian War. And the Peloponnesian War.
Was there a woman involved?
And then-
Penelope?
Listen. Lysistrata was actually a woman.
It was
So
actually
the
how-
war was between the Greek city-states, and it was so bad. And men could only go to war every now and then. So Lysistrata devised a method and said, what if we stopped giving these men sex? Will they go to war? And they went on a sex strike. And men had to come and negotiate with women for power. So when I hear people talk about, oh, people have slept their way up, it is a thing which has been there from 573 BC. That women actually, their potent weapon has always been withholding. If women today decided to withhold sex and they want their numbers in parliament, I'm telling you, the Kenyan parliament will say, we'll give these women what they want.
What are they waiting for?
So Lysistrata, so Lysistrata managed to stop a war by actually containing it. Now, my point is that there's nothing like bad girl, there's nothing like a good girl. It's what you want to do.
Yeah.
The African woman has really suffered for a very long time. And if you look at the women and the journey our Kenyan or African women undergone, and if you read any books written by African women, you'd realize women have been at the brunt of a very harsh reality in this world. So let women now dress up and stand out and feel good. So if the woman
And
feels,
take power.
and take power, if they feel like they want to date the way they choose the men they want, because how many people have you seen? For a very long time, women were in forced marriages. You are told this is what you'll marry, and you're told now you, the bride price, has been paid. So you have no choice on the woman you're getting married to. You have no choice on the children you want to bear. You have no choice on land you are disinherited. So if women have realized their potential and they have stood up and realized that they can come and stand up at this time and age, then they're just doing those things. And maybe you've read So Long a Letter by Maria Ba, the book.
I've heard the name. So sounds so romantic. So long a letter.
Have you read? Yeah, So Long a
So Long a
Letter.
Love Letter.
It talks about the problems African women have undergone. It's beautiful. You've read Bachicha Chemurenga's book from Zimbabwe. Still issues on women and how women have been put down. So my argument is that we need to allow women to breathe now. Let them just breathe. Let them. If you want to sleep on your way to the top, no one will gonna stop you. But if that's the only avenue, then you cannot tell people, oh, she slept her way to the top. Wewe umefanyia nini hiyo talanta yako?
Yeah, for me, really, it's just sort of agreeing with what everybody has said. I think a time has come where we have to look at issues from a systemic perspective. Because when I see women marginalization, I liken it to racism in the West. It is not enough to say, black people, you are welcome. You have now to look at those biases and those layers upon layers that are keeping women outside of the room. An example, a classic example in Kenya is that in the 2013 elections, there was no single woman who was elected as a governor. In 2017, there were 3, and then, may God rest her soul, one died. That is Laboso. There were 2. In this election, the one that we had 2022, we have women that are 7. So all factors held equal, we've come from 0 to 3 to 7. That looks like positive change in my view. But if we can go deeper, we can see that there was a lot of systemic barriers that were breached and that were broken. For example, political parties giving Because if you look at the women who won, they were in the leading political party positions. You could tell that their political parties supported them even with resources. So for me, when I see women, the corner office, Millie, who is like a role model bad girl for all of us, I see it as a woman who has made it there, but though she's the first, she should not be the last, and that's why we need to break those barriers. And sometimes I do it myself. Like whenever I'm having my community meetings, they don't start at 8 a.m. because while I know that we have to keep time, and we're in Kenya, we have to keep time, I know women start their day at 5:30 a.m. and they start by making porridge, taking children to school, all those domestic roles that they have to start with in the morning before they do the community work. So I don't mind starting at 9:30 a.m. That is how I contribute positively to breaking a barrier that would keep women outside of the community hall and community room. In any case, we've seen, even in our society, women are almost appreciated when they are doing private roles. Kupika, kuosha watu wagonjwa, kusaidia brother-in-law mwenye bibi yake alipotea. Those domestic roles, they are very much, women are told, there you can do. But where we draw the line is when now women are saying, I want to be in the public life, I want to be able to be a holder of resources, because even political seats are a holder of resources. So I see that it's not enough to say women are okay, women, you should push yourself out there, women, be happy. It is important for us to confront the barriers that are systemic. In America, we are talking about race. In Kenya, we are talking about culture. And then probably in the end, we'll have more women in the corner office. In fact, it will be so normal that it will not be new that women are in the corner office. Yeah.
Nani anaosha bibi ya brother ya bibi yake alipo? I wanted to bust. Nani anaosha?
Haven't you ever seen like how women are always taking care of the sick?
You're praised for being like, especially when you're
married
and then you are there going to washa matumbo.
Yeah, watoto wake, yani ukisikia care of the sick, mwenye bibi yake, you know the way some bad men bibi yake anapotea, so ameacha tutoto tudogo. So you are like in the meantime, mom, uto tu vitu tudogo women wana appreciate and they are doing it, domestic work and paid care work, hiyo iko sawa. Lakini wakitaka resources wanaambiwa wait, you are sleeping around.
Before I even introduce the next story, let me say something. To be honest, we see this a lot. Yeah. We see these women who have established themselves in the city when they go to the villages. You find that them wanaambiwa serve watermelon. There you go there, you've not established yourself. Oh, donosha matumbo. Anyway, let's go to the next story. The next story is, we talked about this actually in our last show. There was this guy who was building a house with a girlfriend that he wasn't living with, aka not married. No, they were dating apparently. And so he lost money. Now, he had worked in an airline previously, and the airline felt pity because he cried on video, surely they had to. And now they contributed the money, and he's back home in London, safe. We are saying our goodbyes, but also...
No, listen, this story, this is the saddest story I actually had. And whoever took that old man's money,
Please return.
Please return that money, because you will not know peace. I don't think they will know peace. Yeah? I'm just sending it out in the universe for you. You will not know peace. You know why? No. You know, this guy is almost 60-something, and I think he could... He's in the group of the elderly, and dementia may have set in earlier. And just while we are on that, I actually saw that, number one, it's criminal in Kenya to actually take advantage of elderly people like him. He was past, I think he's nearing 70s. He meant well. And all his retirement, actually now it was not just 8 million, it's about 15 million Kenya shillings. It's a lot of money to actually just give to someone. I believe his story. I don't think, I know you did not believe it. This is cruelty to older people. And I saw in the US some 2 women were actually prosecuted because it was shown systematically. They would get the elderly and somehow get their retirement money out of it. this person is a danger to the society, this woman who took money from this elderly person. I wish you were doing it to a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old who still has at least some, maybe 20 years to work and make a living. It's just a very, very sad thing that, and actually we talked about it. How do we become a nation of scammers? And he said he was going to take it to BBC, he was going to take it, I don't know where, he was going to talk about it everywhere. Yeah? And it is a problem. It's a problem because, you know, when this, we have all these expatriates and all who actually come to Kenya for maybe to do some work that they can do. They actually warned against Kenyan women because we've just, some of us, not everyone, just decided to become scammers. We're scamming people, breaking families, doing all these things. It's not funny at all. Takana tujiite kwa mkutano.
Speaking of mkutano, me when I saw that story on WhatsApp and in other WhatsApp groups, people were laughing. Like wanaeka emojis za kucheka. And then the first thing I asked myself, all factors held equal. Wangecheka hivyo kama wakuskamiwa ni mama? Because I noticed that wanachekelea mbaba, it's like, they're like, we, sijui nini, amekula fair. But I was like, what if it was a woman who had been scammed? I thought, or even in the past, I've seen there's an element of sympathy that is directed to women who are scammed. That is the one thing I noticed. But it took me back to there was a documentary, or was it a movie, something, that was called Tinder Swindler. Yeah, that one. Tinder Swindler. Whereby a guy, you know, and you remember the girl who ended up in debt in millions. She's like, her life was changed for the worst, like forever, because of the amount of debt that she has. Certainly, it has become, it's more or less like on issues of love, people make the one who has been scammed to look like the fool. Because people are like, it seems like you had a lot of money that you even had excess to send to some girl. I even saw some people saying, these white people colonized us, this part of reparations. There was a lot of insensitivity around that swindling, that for me, I felt like the guy was just a victim of a good heart, and he was just looking for someone to, now that we are occupying everything in Kenya, he just wanted someone to occupy his heart. So for me, I see it more or less as just a typical swindling, but I also see vulnerability in a way, because if I remember the details of that story, the guy had never met the girl when he started sending, and even the vulnerability that comes with the internet, whereby people can use fake images. Maybe even the lady whom he thinks he sent the money, alichukua picha za another lady. There's a lot of internet scamming situation where people can fake even names. However, it's quite unfortunate, and for me, I think it was just a bad day for him.
Before CEO goes, let me say something. Actually, this is a message to men. You need to learn. It started with Samson in the Bible. He could kill Philistines. He took a lion and split his mouth and killed it.
Delilah.
The only thing that put him down and he lost his eyes and died is, you don't love me enough. Those are the words that Delilah used. You don't love. Only that. Look at David. He had cities, he had everything. Only Uriah could bring them down. Men, please. That one sentence should not make you give away your retirement money. That one sentence should not make you become poor. There are so many girls out here, surely.
And he traveled, actually.
Imagine
Like
that person
could
cut ropes like a string.
Yeah.
But then, you don't love me enough, 15 million gone.
I always call it the fair economy. It's very big.
Fair.
Fair
like,
Yeah, the fair
like
economy. Yeah, the school affair economy is so big, and we have to support the fair economy, number one. But number two, any man who decides to send money to a woman, you've not met this woman, and you sit down and you see images, you don't know whether it is real or not. You know, we don't have any substitution for stupidity.
These are vulnerable old men.
No. You cannot meet someone on the internet and you start telling us, Dr. C, because you are old, He tells you, we want to build a house, we want to live together. The first thing you do, the first thing you do is do your check. Talk to someone. So this woman found a very foolish man.
Because if you have 8 million, you can surely
A
afford
very
this year.
foolish man.
15 million.
You can afford
You can
a
afford
ticket
someone.
to come to Nairobi first.
First class.
Establish the place where this woman is, have a sit down, go for dates, agree, read the mind, and then decide whether you want to proceed with that woman's idea, because that vulnerability is out of this world. That someone tells you, oh, I like you, I love you, we can invest together. And from where you sit, you say, how much is it? And you see, I've realized this thing is where, you see, many people who do what we call the gold business in this republic, the guys who scam each other in the gold business, that, the wash, I can tell you, those guys, the ability they have, because if they tell someone in Europe that today I have 20 kilograms of gold, and the person in the UK or wherever, or in the Europe or in Arabia, sends 300 million. Bank transfer. You've not seen this man, you've not seen this gold, you are buying papers. So the people are gullible, number one. It doesn't matter whether you're old or not. People in these, some countries are extremely gullible, they do not check and counter check. Someone tells you, come, I will sell you gold. You know Kenya does not produce gold. And gold for 3 billion disappears. You know them in Kilimani. We know those friends of ours who do those kind of businesses there. And it is business as usual. So ignorance can never be defense on anyone. Even if you're old, Dr. C, you might be old, but you cannot take your 8 hard-earned million, 15, and start sending to a woman you have never met.
How was he sending? There must be documentation.
Yeah,
You
there
are
was
sending by
documentation,
M-Pesa.
yeah.
You, unless you are a
There's
need.
documentation.
Obviously, I'm imagining there should be a way the money is.
Yeah, you just wait, you transfer. You can just say, the woman will say, oh, even now you can send money, even if you're sending 10,000 through M-Pesa every day. And these women are very, I can tell you, they are very crafty. People are very crafty. If I ask you to be sending me mobile money today on phone, 100,000 every day, in less than 1 year, you'll have sent 8 million.
But see, the man is first anaishi UK. Maybe the fair economy is not very elaborate and
But
illustrative.
15 million.
But
Did he
also,
send?
How did
15
15
million is
million?
not pocket change.
You know, there is the elaborate part whereby, okay, it's not very elaborate, 1 million is gone. No, you go 2, 3, 4, 215.
That's what I'm saying.
But
That's
maybe he has
ignorance.
his
He's
friends.
actually lying.
But he has his friends wenye washaikuwa na wamemita wasichana kwa internet. You know these things, kuna kwanga na, you know there are people who are met through the internet, na wakaongea and all. You've
But
seen
you know
those stories, na
something,
wakamit.
this is a fact. Like for example, let's not even go to money. I am dating someone afar, who is very far, right? Don't I want to see that person? No, even if all the body parts are there, you'll be marrying a scrape in the house. There are things that you need to come and confirm.
But they were doing it virtually.
What is virtual?
There's
Someone,
nothing
15
virtual.
million is not pocket change.
for me, I
15
do not.
million is
Guy
too
is
much.
saying the truth.
My argument has always been, if you can be that gullible, and you know you're knowing you're not earning any more money, this
you
is
know
your
that.
retirement, and you know it, and you're just sending. Then you come
But
one
see,
day and no
let's
one meets
not
you.
dismiss that he was in love.
There's no love there. That's stupidity.
But
Hey,
love,
wait.
love can make people do many things. That
Love can also make people lose their brains to giving away all their retirement money. No, that's very wrong. That is really wrong. And we are glad that he's in London, he's in the UK, he's home, he's safe. We hope that the people in UK will feed him.
Ataenda kwa nyumba ya wazee.
Oh, wow.
But it's not free. Nyumba ya wazee is not free.
Hey,
You pay for it.
Yeah.
Your family
Atachangiwa.
has nothing for you.
Whoever you are who took 15 million, kindly contact me so that I can show you how to return the money. Anyway. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week on Let's Be Real.
Samantha Wines, now available in all the leading wine stores.